What is up, everyone? Let's just make sure that this live is actually live. Okay, let me know if you can hear me. Let's see. All right, we got one viewer so far. All right, guys, just a couple of minutes. Anderson had a bit of a situation he had to handle.
Have to be super dead.
Yep. Make sure to share this out. Let's see.
What is up, my people?
Hold on, let me make sure that your mic is, it's
Turned
unmuted.
on. All right.
Check. Mic check, mic check.
How is everybody doing?
You need to move a little bit more this way. I gotta move a little bit too.
Gotta give me a little bit of love, man.
Get up close and personal. What's up with the white, dude?
Well, still in work uniform. That's what it is.
Oh, got it.
Best part is that you can't really see where it is unless you can see my sleeves.
Hold on. I gotta move just a bit more. You gotta inch in a little bit so you can get in frame.
There we go.
Now I gotta move my keyboard.
The wireless.
All right. So let me see. Make sure to share. Let people know that we're here. And
Like, subscribe,
yeah,
put everything on there.
tell your boys and
Yep.
girls.
If you like anime, if you like hearing us two babble on about Bible stuff and anime, this is the page to share.
I'll do some babbles, but
All the time. All the time.
anyway, so today, guys, we have a special topic brought to you by my friend Anderson. He's always looking to cause trouble, so I'll try to keep him. I'll keep him in check. But today we're going to be talking about how the Bible says that humanity is evil, or at least some people take it that way. Other people call it total depravity. So we can get into what that really means. There are some camps. We might anger the Arminians or the
Calvinists too.
The Calvinists in a way, because they also might see things a little bit differently. So we'll get into that. But first and foremost,
There you go.
we are going to be looking at an example that Anderson brought for us. I found this one video, Andre. It's probably not the one that you had prompted. Did you send me something or no?
I was not able to know.
Yeah, that's fine. So
It's all good.
I'll do a quick intro just based on this video that I saw a little of, and then you can kind of fill in the blanks, because he's definitely more familiar with this arc than I am. So
Heads up, guys. Major spoiler alerts to Yu Yu Hakusho. This is like the third arc. So if you have not caught up at all, this is after the Dark Tournament. Really good stuff. Watch Yu Yu Hakusho. In my opinion, this should have been part of the original Big Three. This came out in 92, man.
I mean, some of the animation,
Dude.
Well,
this is also made by the same guy that made Hunter x Hunter, #1. So if you want some connection, this is the same dude that made Hunter x Hunter.
1990s or new one, there's a lot of discussion there. But yeah, so Anderson is gonna clue us all in, including myself, on this. But just so you can have some visual representation, there we have this guy named Yusuke.
Yusuke Urameshi.
Yeah, he is what they call in the anime a spirit detective. So he's definitely evil.
We're gonna piss off the Christians with this anime.
Yeah, this guy is all into sorcery and evil spirits and whatnot. Long story short, he's like this detective in the spirit realm where he's battling like demons and spirits and whatnot. But what you care about is that Yusuke became a detective, right? And throughout this journey, eventually we get to this arc that Anderson is going to be cluing us in, where he is battling another former detective who became evil because of this tape in this anime where humanity is seen at its worst, doing a bunch of crazy stuff. And ultimately, what happens, well, I'll let you kind of clue them in on that because I don't want to steal your thunder.
Nah, it's fine, right? So, Yu Yu Hakusho, this is the chapter Black or the Black arc, right? We're pretty much looking at a time where after Yusuke and his friends come back from the Dark Tournament, everybody's all hunky-dory. They defeated the main baddie at the time. And so this new baddie guy comes in. And the whole premise is of this guy who used to be Yusuke's, counterpart, or, he had Yusuke's job before. He finds his videotape that essentially shows some of the most darkest and evilest things that humanity has ever done. In this case, compared to other demons. As you can see right there on the screen, that's supposed to be a human torturing other demons. And so this drives this guy to a point where he actually decides to steal the tape, run off, and then he just happens to surface up. As you watch, again, spoiler warnings, later on in the show, you actually find out this tape is a part of a series of tapes that's supposed to be watched. So like anything else, when something is taken out of context, it ends up damaging and destroying everything more than when you would actually watch it in series with everything else.
And the premise of this entire arc is that this dude, this previous detective, he comes to the understanding of how evil humanity is, and then ultimately his goal is to basically annihilate humanity as a result, and he's going to do it through opening like demon gates and all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But that's more or less the premise. We discover here that humanity is evil and he's looking to destroy, which brings us to the topic you want to introduce.
So the idea is total depravity. When I was talking with Manny about this, I just was recently watching a summary of it, and it made me think, oh, well, Sensui, the main bad guy that we're going to be dealing with, is like a perfect person to talk about, is humanity truly good? Are we truly evil? Like when you look at this main guy and how he's described, they describe him actually as a pure person, like white snow. And then what happens when he's tainted? What happens when you taint a piece of white paper? It spreads out and it goes, and the evil's put into that. So I kind of started to think about, all right, well, is this guy really good? Is he really evil? And then it brought me to, are we really good? Are we really evil? And are we kind of like that piece of paper that Adam and Eve tainted?
Yeah, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on what total depravity really means, or what you think it means from your perspective.
Yeah.
But this is an interesting topic because I think that a good portion of people believe that humanity is mainly good, right? And then the exception are, few and far in between. So the Bible is pretty much hinting at the complete opposite, right? That humanity is totally deprived without God. And that, there are some verses in Romans that talk about how no man is good, not even one. There's some context there that we need to look at for sure. So let me know if you want to go into a verse. Do you want to talk about?
Well, let's start off from the beginning, man. Let's see. Can you hit Genesis chapter 3, verse 6 real quick? Let's go right from the beginning.
Genesis 3 what?
Chapter 3, verse 6.
All right, so I got some complaints last time around about you guys not being able to see
Audio? Oh, there we go.
Let's try that again.
Have you been muted the whole time? Can you guys hear me?
No, it's because we switched the window.
Oh, got you. There we go.
Can you hear us now? You should be able to.
Yeah, hopefully. I think so.
Let's just make sure.
All right, all good. She said it's all good.
Okay. All right.
So we got Genesis chapter 3, verse 6. The woman was convinced. She saw that the tree was beautiful and its fruit looked delicious, and she wanted the wisdom it would give her. So she took some of the fruit and ate it. Then she gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it too. Here is the real fun part. Here's where we get to see Adam and Eve essentially mess everything up for us. They were perfect up until the middle of it, when they go right into she took the fruit and ate it. So this is really where we begin to see that Adam and Eve messes it up. And as you continue to go on, like for example, we can even talk about like Isaiah 64:6, which we can jump to in a little bit. But this is the point where Adam and Eve not only mess it up for some people, but they mess it up for everybody. This is where like this whole idea or the debate of like original sin and stuff like that comes from this specific point. This is like the mess up point where everything went downhill. And then this is like because of the sin. Then afterwards, as we continue in Genesis, we begin. Oh, there's an echo. Oh. How about now? Is that better? As they say in certain churches, right? This is live. Excuse the the stuff going on. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So at this point, Adam and Eve mess up, and this is where we begin to see that sin that then is passed down to us. Right? This is where I believe that we begin to see the first fruits of like total depravity because of what they did and how they messed up later on.
Do you think it's fair to say that humanity is evil?
I absolutely 100% believe it is fair to say that we're evil. 100%. I'm a little bit of a weirdo, but when you think about like what humanity tries to do, or like what do we normally see that comes out of these wars and stuff like that, right? Let's get out of the scapegoat of like how we try and use war to push religion and stuff like that. There's always an underlying concern that ends up being separate from this. We always want to advance. We always want to push ourselves forward. When it gets to like those dire situations, we'd rather be the ones to be in a better position than somebody else.
But is most of humanity today evil?
Well, we got to define what evil is first.
You know?
That's what we have to take a look at, right? Like
so when you say evil, what do you mean?
So when I say evil, I'm talking about how the Bible actually talks about evil, right? Anything separate from God, anything separated away, like I believe that us personally, we don't have the ability to save ourselves. Like this is like the whole idea of total depravity. I believe that us as humans, we don't have the ability to save ourselves, nor do we want to. But by God's grace, is that we can recognize that, hey, we need a Savior and we need to come to Christ.
Because I think when people hear, humanity is evil, or someone's being evil, they're thinking about like heinous actions, like the video that detective saw in that video. And some people, like, for whatever, I think they take it that way, from what the Bible says, like, they quote like no man is good, not even one. Mm-hmm. But for me, when I read that, I'm reading it in the context of what God is comparing. What Paul is comparing us to, which is God. I mean, anything compared to God is gonna be a piece of crap. You know what I mean?
Dude, look up Isaiah 64:6.
Yeah, so that's the dirty rags thing.
Yes, right? Sir.
What is it?
All of our good works are like dirty rags.
Isaiah what?
64. And I'm not that good, guys. I just looked at this before. I don't have it memorized like that yet. I got Jesus wept. That's in the book of John. Yeah, so let's actually go down to verse 6, right? We are all infected and impure with sin. When we display our righteous deeds, they are like They are nothing but filthy rags. Like autumn leaves, we wither and fall, and our sin sweeps us away like the wind. Just that whole idea of like everything good that we do is it's bad.
And again, it's compared. Like I want people to understand this. It's compared to God and God's holiness.
Yes.
Right. Like we are not devoid is the right word.
Yeah, I think devoid would be right.
Yeah, like we're not devoid of doing good deeds, like things that reflect God. But there's still sin and there's still wrong within that, because ultimately outside of God, when you're doing something, you're doing it to glorify yourself.
His mic or my mic? Your mic is off.
Oh, my mic?
Yeah, they're saying that your mic is off.
Yeah, let me I added me
Yeah, your mic is what's cutting out, so they're picking up the audio from mine. Mute that. There we go. All right, we got rid of the echo.
Yeah, I added the logos view a little later, and I got to figure out the audio for that. So sorry about that, guys. But what I was saying was that, I just want to make it clear that all of this is in reference to all the holiness of God and who God is, right? So no deed.
You're good. Because we cut it off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so no deed that's done, right, ultimately it has some evil in it, or it has a sinful nature in it, because outside of God, outside of you doing something to glorify God, then you're glorifying something else, right? You're glorifying yourself, you're glorifying the other person. You're not doing it for a pure motive of glorifying God. And that's what the Bible is saying, that no man is good, not even one, because ultimately that sin that you talked about with Adam and Eve that entered humanity, and because of this, we fall short of that measure that God has for us. And I want to clarify this, because I've even heard them from preaching and teachings that, people, they talk about evil and then they equate it to like what regular people that maybe don't know the Bible think when we're talking about evil. And then they're looking at us like we're weird, right? Like, what are these people talking about? Like, humankind is completely evil. Because, you look around and we're not, like, for the most part, we're civilized. We're not killing each other. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And Bible says, and God says it, and the Bible says that the word of God is written in our hearts, right? Exactly. So to an extent, there is a conscience that God has placed in us for us to be able to recognize what's right and wrong. Because think about it, if we didn't have that, then he wouldn't be able to judge. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, for sure. And that's the thing that we try and push aside, right? Like that voice of that conscience. And we try and, manipulate to justify the things that we do, right? Anything that is considered not that big of a deal, right? People who lie, just because this is the first thing that comes to my mind. People who lie on their taxes, or people maybe who get the answers to a test and they pass the answers around. Like, is that necessarily right? No, but what harm are you necessarily doing to other people? You're not really doing anything to other people.
And now let me flip the coin on you, because here's the other thing, right? We are not as good, like humanity is not as good as we think we are.
Yes.
And a perfect example of this is a child, right? Like, you don't have to teach a child to be selfish, right? You don't have to teach a child to lie. You know what I mean? Like, these are things that naturally we do as humans from a very young age. And parents, right, our task is to teach them the right ways, teach them to behave, teach them to share and not be self-centered. So from the other perspective, people need to understand, hey, we are really not born as good as we think we are.
But that's the debate, right? Like, that's the question. Are we born good? Are we born evil? Is it just something where it's like malleable, and we can kind of just, nature versus nurture? Like, what do we really say it is?
That's interesting. How would you explain the state of a human being when they're born into this world?
I am a little bit extreme. Hold up. Let's see what the EX Box Gamer just said real quick. right? It's the Majin Vegeta that lies within all of us. I like that comparison. Some people can miss their sinfulness when headed down the righteous path if their salvation is legit. And then that's my wife using my personal account. I've heard the argument.
Dude, I thought, like, did you just text her?
No, that's my wife. She's using my account because.
Oh, is that?
And see, I've heard the argument that children are like that because it's survival instincts. I don't necessarily believe in that.
What does that? I don't even know.
Well, like
What
kids,
does that mean?
like kids reacting out in a specific way, just so that way they can kind of like defend themselves. They see something that poses like a threat.
So it's not an argument. It's an argument that's not like an evil thing, or like that's not a wrong thing. Could you explain that a little bit?
Oh, real quick, the Xbox Gamer. I'm saying that my wife is using my personal account, so that's why it looks like I'm writing something when I'm not. See, survival of the fittest. So, I personally believe that us as humans, we are born evil. I believe that if you give a 2-year-old or even a 6-month-old the strength of a fully grown adult, they will absolutely kill you and destroy you.
But is that evil? Because how much malice and intent is there?
I don't know. I mean, like, well, the child doesn't know, but they know what feels good and they know what they want to do, right? Like, I think about like my son Adrian. Like, before I came over here, as I see him interacting with his mom, she was trying to get him away from the bouncy house that he loves, and he started to hit her. He was mad. He didn't like that, and he started to hit her. I mean, nobody taught him how to react in an angry way or anything like that. I mean, yeah, maybe you could say part of it is us disciplining him, that he learned from it. But even before that, you know, you've seen him.
Yeah.
His hands a little loose, man.
Loosey.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about this because, you know, the Bible also seems to point at an actual point of accountability, like, and it's not an age thing, but there's a point in a human's life where they're actually held accountable to their actions, right? So, case in point, like if a newborn dies or a toddler dies, it's not a straight ticket to hell, right?
Yeah.
God is gonna see their actual conscience, what they actually were able to intend, which is not much at a 2-year-old, right?
No.
What they can actually reason, and that's why we believe that babies and toddlers and even to an extent, there may be some people that develop later in life that will end up in heaven and will not be accountable, even if they didn't accept Christ in the process. So for me, as I'm thinking about, like, are humans born evil? I don't think that humans are born evil in the sense of what we think about evil. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill you, evil. I'm gonna do malice towards you. I think that what we're definitely born without, and the Bible talks about this, and this is where original sins comes in, is that we are born not wanting to praise and to worship God. That, I think, is like the total deprived nature that we are born with from Adam and Eve, where in our nature, out of ourselves, we are not going to want to praise the God that created us. Right, and that's what total depravity really talks about, is that in it of ourselves, we are a slave to our human nature and to sin. And thus, we're not able to see God until he intervenes in our lives, and then we have the opportunity to respond to that.
Exactly, yeah. No, for sure. And again, it's so many different points of view as to how you can look at it, right? Like, because Pastor Chetty, you know, we got a pastor actually watching with us, guys. He brought up a good point, like, because toddlers also have, and babies have, the capability to show love. So it is a very, like, difficult thing where you pull on it. I mean, like, you know, to be honest and to say that we know it 100%, I mean, that's why we're trying to go to the Bible and see what does the Bible actually show us. Just, like, what is this idea of all the things that we try and do? Is it good? Is it not? What do we define as good or what's bad? It can really go in so many different ways, but it's, again, just with that focus that we're not talking about things that we can do that can physically hurt people or not, but just more of the things that we do that separate us from God. And then also you kind of fall into the danger because to tie it back into the anime, as you continue to watch Yu Yu Hakusho in the Black arc, you find out that Sensui actually has like a weird form of schizophrenia. He has multiple different personalities, and what he does is that he goes through when he has a moral dilemma that he has to face, because in the end, and the end of it, this is a human trying to eradicate humanity for the sins of other people, which is kind of funky. He creates multiple different personalities to try and cope with the moral dilemma that he has, to try and justify himself for what he's doing. So think about that for a second. He's creating different versions of himself to pass the blame on to say, hey, I didn't do that. This was this guy that did it and this guy that did it. So he can feel justified in his evil actions of trying to kill humanity. Yeah.
Compartmentalize. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, the interesting thing, and I want you guys that are watching to think about this and to think about the nature of God and how he ultimately deals with humanity with our deprived nature. Like, think about this. Most of the times when we see, like, for those of you that are not like necessarily like anime people, Chetty, you're more of a hero, Marvel guy. Like, most of, these villains, in like the Marvel universe.
Forget the villains, the Hulk.
What?
The Hulk. What do you consider him?
No, but that's not where I'm going. Hold on. So what I'm saying is that most of these villains, when they're faced with like the worst of the worst of human nature, their reaction and what they want to do is they want to eradicate humanity, right? Like, that is the logical and rational thing,
Ultron,
right? That these guys ultimately go with. And even with the Sensui, he does the same thing. He's like, because humanity is so evil, they all need to be eradicated. They need to be destroyed. And this is why, like, we understand that if God wanted to end humanity right then and there, basically destroy Adam and Eve in the garden, he would have been in his right to do so. Point blank, evil, done, destroyed, judge it. But that is not how God treats us, and that's not how he treats humanity. Instead, he shows love and grace and mercy and provides a way for humankind to redeem itself. And even at that, so many people scoff at the belief of Christianity. Yeah. They hate on God and call him an unjust God. Yeah. And it to me is just like, man, you really don't understand the God of the Bible. You know what I'm saying?
100%. And it's really funny, man. We should have made Attack on Titan the thumbnail of this. I mean, so quick spoiler warning. If you have not finished the final season, there's something very wrong with you. But this, in reality, right, is like what Eren tried to do at the end of it all. He tried to play his own God, and he ended up being this evil, vile thing that people think that God is.
Yeah, that's, we still have to sit down, and it's probably going to be another stream to really digest and understand and try to figure out, like, what the heck. Because, I mean,
that ending was amazing. I absolutely loved that. But this is Yu Yu Hakusho, not Attack on Titan.
I think that the ending, I don't think it was perfect. I think it was. What? I think it was an ending, and it was a troubled ending in the sense of, like, it wasn't meant to just make you feel good, which I liked. It was more like, it was less scripted and more like, well, you could have the perfect ending, but no, we're gonna give you a lackluster ending and have you deal with it.
And there we go. My wife is not using her account.
So she saw it? You saw the ending?
No, she definitely didn't watch the ending with me. I saw that by myself, man.
Got it. But man. Eren is, in a sense, like, he is a type of Christ for the anime, if you will, where ultimately he's like, I need to, and again, it's a similar situation, and you also got to think about, like, human nature, like all of these literary forms, books, even anime, we deal with this concept of the evil that's inhumanity, right? We portray it,
And
and how do
it's-
we deal with it?
And it's funny because, Box Gamer, I say that more for myself to keep myself in line, because if not, I'll go into Attack on Titan. But after this arc,
We can go into Attack on Titan. Like, I mean, we can touch the surface level of some of the stuff that happens.
Because Box Gamer also brought up some stuff about Cowboy Bebop that was really good earlier, too.
Oh, okay.
So it's interesting because in Yu Yu Hakusho, right after this arc, the final arc then goes into how Yusuke actually is a half demon. In his like lineage, he's actually like part demon, and it makes him stronger, and that's a whole other thing. So that's interesting that you say that, because again, that whole idea of
So this anime is demonic and is teaching you that you should have a demon inside you?
No, it's definitely not teaching you that, but like to say that this anime is not demonic, I'd be lying to you. It's
Wait, so you're watching a demonic anime? You're bringing a demonic anime to this podcast, bro?
I mean, most of the anime we're watching kind of falls in there, no? I mean, definitely not in the same sense of like the seances and stuff like that, but to see that the Japanese were willing to consider like heaven, hell, and all these other things, and just to throw in there. I mean, we got to be honest. A lot of anime does take reference stuff from way back in the day.
Does that make it demonic?
I mean, we have to define what is demonic. Is it just because it references demons and stuff like that? Does that make it demonic? Do they have to do like occult practices in it to make it demonic? Because you got some of that too going on.
I'll give you...
Not in the show,
like,
but just in general.
For me, one anime that I could not... Like, I stopped watching because I just felt weird about it was...
Devilman Crybaby?
No. I watched that one.
I couldn't watch that.
Is it... It's not... It's like, is it for like 4-leaf clover? What is it?
Black Clover. You're talking about Black Clover.
Black Clover. I watched like a few seasons of that anime, and the fact that like this main character, he just like continued to like use this evil power, and like, and I don't know, maybe it's cleared up later on, but he just like kept on improving and working, and he was continuing to draw his power from this evil thing, or at least that's how it's portrayed. I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna step away from this is not. And it wasn't like I was feeling any like, I just didn't like the fact that it was just like this so-called hero just tapping into this evil power or whatever it is to fight.
I mean, what's the difference between that and like Majin Vegeta and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, but Majin Vegeta he's not portrayed as a good guy. Like, we know that that's like a bad, situation in his life at that time.
Yeah. Well, it's a bad situation because he picked it, but yeah, I mean, that's why I guess would have to define what does it really look like. Just because, like, if we go to the fact that just because it has demonic stuff into it makes it very demonic. I mean, what do we say about the Bible? The Bible talks about demons. The Bible talks about like Nephilim and stuff like that. So like, I guess from there, where is the line? And we have to be transparent and apply that line into everything else. And real quick, Box Gamer is coming in hot with some of these classic animes. Trigun 1996, amazing. Yes, that is an amazing show that talks about morality.
You know what's something that I read about Trigun, that apparently there's only like 6 actual canon episodes and the rest are like fillers.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I read.
That's a great show.
And I haven't gone back to, was it great?
Yes,
I remember being a little like...
Nah, man, I rewatched that. That Trigun was awesome. I don't care what nobody said.
I have heard a lot of the people that watch the channel, they've referenced like me doing a review on it just because it has a lot of imagery that you could point to the Bible. But yeah, I would have to go. I mean, they made a new one, so maybe I'll watch the new one.
I know, I gotta watch that new one to see if it's anything worth watching into.
The intro is sick, yeah. I would agree.
It's funny, Adonis points out like 50% of anime characters have something to do with demons. It's very funny, and it's always like a redeeming thing too, right?
Is that true? Let's think. I mean, you can, like, Inuyasha's a demon.
Inuyasha's a demon,
but
Naruto,
that's like nobody watches Inuyasha. It's
dude.
Don't crap anime.
Nope.
I mean,
what?
There was nothing else to watch at like 3 a.m. So you would you would watch Inuyasha, but like, what other animes like where the main character is like demonesque?
Naruto.
No, but that's not a demon though.
The nine-tailed fox is definitely a demon.
It's called a demon, but it's like a description, but it's not like an actual demon. It's just a force. It's like, yo, you were a demon in the court. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay.
Like that's what it's.
All right. So then if we go that way, so then Inuyasha definitely for sure.
Yeah, but nobody watches Inuyasha.
Shut up. I like Inuyasha.
Really?
I like Inuyasha.
Oh,
Yu Yu
Lord.
Hakusho definitely has it on there. Oh my lord.
And that's it.
No,
That's it, bro.
Definitely gotta be more
that's
than
it.
that,
I mean,
man.
there's a lot of heroes that have like their evil arc, right? They got like that arc that's like, yo, Jerry, que se diabólico. You know what, bro? Then you're gonna have a talk with your wife.
Oh, that's a good one right there. A Castlevania.
No, but the hero's not demonic.
Well, the hero.
He fights the demons.
Yeah, he fights the demons. But still,
If they aren't demons, they definitely use magic or witchcraft and crap like that. They do definitely have like powers or.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But like, are superheroes like are they using magic? It's pretty much like.
Wait, it depends because if we go into superheroes, Shazam's like
that's magic.
Yeah, Shazam is magic, and his main bad guy is the devil.
Is Superman using magic?
Superman ends up using magic.
No, but you could call what he does magic. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe I think that's a stretch.
I'd say if we could
That's a
find some
stretch.
animes that have like incantations and stuff like that, that's probably stuff like I wouldn't. I mean,
what we call Jackie Chan's adventure anime.
Who was it? You don't remember that?
Right? Can we call that? Can we call that anime?
Oh man, no, it's not. It's not an anime. Superpowers equal anime. There you go.
No, equal magic. That's what my wife wrote. I don't know about that. You know what? Let me look up real quick. There we go. Blood Plus, Trinity Blood, Demon Slayer. Thank you. The Demon Slayer. That was
but Demon Slayer, they're fighting demons. They're not demons themselves. Except for the one dude that eats demons. But.
Well, if I'm correct though, Bleach. Well, will we call the Hollows demons?
You see, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like I don't know. It's an art form. But either way.
But yeah, this kid in Demon Slayer in the manga, he does kind of turn into a demon. So
the one that eats.
No. What's the main character's name? Oh my lord!
Wait, don't ruin it. I'm not there. I'm not
right.
there. Imagination is bad overall, especially if you are totally evil people.
I think it's just important.
Chetty, explain that.
I think it's important to recognize that the
saying.
Japanese like to take a lot of influence from religious figures and create all these different things. That's why, like, for example, you see like Dalsum, for example.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people that like crap on me because like I use anime to like bring like biblical truths and like, oh, it has nothing to do with the Bible, but like I just watched an arc of One Piece where they're in like this water.
One Piece.
No, but like they were in this water place and they called this thing called the Noah, which was a big boat. And then you have this lady who's pretty much like a type of Jesus. Like she's always looking like towards the better heart of people. She's always advocating forgiveness, even though like no people deserve it. So like, look, man, you can't tell me that like people in Japan and in the Eastern areas don't know about the Bible. Like I don't believe that at all. And they use it all the time.
Look
so
at
like
Death Note.
So if they are aware of it and they can use it, why can I then use that form to showcase, you know, biblical truths? I don't like, people get mad, bro. In the comments, they get mad.
I mean, like I was watching Death Note. I was watching like a review of Death Note, and I never put two and two together.
Devil fruit.
Yeah, I know, seriously.
Wait, is Luffy a demon?
He has demonic powers in him, right? No, but I was watching the intro to Death Note, and it's interesting how one of the last images is like this kid. It's light, right? Like he's like kind of like putting his finger up, like the Da Vinci painting of like man and God when they're trying to touch each other.
Oh, like Yagami?
Yeah, like that. That's definitely taken out of like Christian and Catholic stuff.
No, yeah,
and then at the end when he's like he's T-posing, man, like at the end, like he's acting like as if he's on a cross.
Yeah, no, that's a great anime.
But
I think we've digressed a little bit. Before we move on, because there's actually a video about your boy Ruslan, actually, that he gets capped on because he's like calling people fat and stuff. But before we play that video, because I want to get your thoughts on it. Is there anything else we want to say about total depravity, or any questions that you guys have about total depravity? before we move on.
I think that
Why do you think?
yeah.
Why do you think people have such a big problem with that?
With anime or
No,
with
with the Bible saying that humanity is totally deprived.
Well, I mean, how else would you feel like when you're being told that you're not strong enough to be able to save yourself? Right? Like, what do we pitch here in society, especially here in the West? Like, you can do it. You got it. Believe in yourself. Manifest it.
Believe it.
I know, right? Manifest it. All this other stuff, right? Like, to be told that, hey, you're not strong enough to be able to save yourself, like, that's a demoralizing and demeaning thing compared to how we believe in ourselves here in this society. Adonis is going ham. Yu-Gi-Oh! Jujutsu Kaisen, that is very true. And the main character is a demon, too.
Stay away from Jujutsu Kaisen. Eso es diabólico. That's devilish right there.
I mean, they're getting closer. They're getting closer to incantation and stuff like that for sure. But
sorry, what was the last thing you said? Because you reminded me of something.
No, I was just saying. What the heck was I just saying? That just completely threw me off now. You were saying. Oh no, I'm saying that people have difficulty with being able to accept the fact that they can't save themselves. How we set ourselves up here in the West is that you need to be able to do everything that you need to by yourself.
So I watched this documentary is a pretty good documentary, especially if you have children, for you to watch. It's called Waiting for Superman. It's on Amazon, I think, and it's basically talking about like the public school system here in the United States. But long story short, what you reminded me of this, and speaking about like America, we live in the U.S.
Yeah,
and like the egos that we have, like the U.S. tested like below average on every single subject.
Oh, yeah, we're like
right
15
like
or some
math, English, so on and so forth. But when it came to confidence, we were one of the highest.
100%. 100%.
So the U.S. was leading in confidence, like as children, but then everything else was just like subpar.
I 100% believe.
So like what you're saying, I believe it 100% because it's just statistically speaking, that's how we're raising our kids. Like, you're amazing, you can do anything, and I mean to an extent, like you want to instill that confidence, but you also want to instill humbleness as well.
Well, that's the difficulty of it, man. Like, how do you instill? Like, that's really like what I think comes more down to the issue when it comes to total depravity. Some people have just difficulty with being told that, hey, you're just wrong at certain points, and like, you need to go on with that. Like, I was listening to some debates against the topic because that's the thing here.
Sorry, I just read Rafi's comment. He's like, "That's sad. We dumb. We have confidence."
hey, man. One of the best ways to convince somebody that you know something is by acting like you do.
Facts.
All right.
But sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good. I don't know what is up with me because I just lost my train of thought right now. Thanks.
Yo, these comments are wild today.
I completely lost my train of thought. So if somebody can help me out with that, I appreciate it. If not,
total depravity, guys. I think.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have an issue with the idea of total depravity. We see so many debates about it, just because of the fact of it. Total depravity doesn't necessarily lead into like the whole salvation piece, but it's more of like, we have to recognize that we're going to be wrong in specific things and learn to be humble and to move forward with that. That humility is the difficult piece, right? Even us as Christians sometimes, supposedly the poster people of being humble can be very arrogant.
Yeah, man. I just think, and we also don't do the best job of explaining what the Bible means by total depravity. Like I told you from at the beginning, like people take total depravity, and the image that they get is what we see in the in the screen here. Like, this is what they picture when somebody says total depravity, and that's not what the Bible ultimately is referring to when they're talking about total depravity. It just speaks about our sinful nature and us not wanting to serve God naturally.
And that's why I like the character Sensui, because he is depicted as like a white piece of paper. He was exposed.
I thought you were going to say like a white man.
No. He is compared to a white piece of paper. He is exposed to all this darkness that humanity does in the world of Yu Yu Hakusho. And that's what really like sets him off on that course, right? We're kind of like that. When we come into this world, we're like that white paper, and then we get tainted with our own sin, which is true, and then from there we need God to clean us up. That's really what it is. That's really like the super like come down bare bones version of it, right? Like whether you believe how we get saved and stuff like that, that's a different conversation for a different day. But I think it's just important that we recognize that we don't have it all together, and that we need God, plain and simple. We need God to help us.
Rafi said, I think anime don't help sometimes. It's always the underdogs that become the superstars, superheroes, and life ain't like that for everyone. That's so true.
That is true.
And I mean, I think that definitely like animes like Dragon Ball, like I'll throw one of my cherished animes out there. Like for sure, it's like Goku. You know that from the beginning that he's always gonna win regardless. And
Goku teaches us that all we have to do to win in life is yell.
Yeah. and I think to an extent is good because you want to, you want that perseverance, and you want your kids to learn to work hard and to sometimes be delusional about what they can achieve, right? To at least be able to try. But at the same time, like, you do want to always lean on God and be humble and understand that ultimately, like, it's God's plan, bro. Like, look, God, like Proverbs says, like, a man will plan his way, but the Lord will direct his steps. And I think, like, that's ultimately how we try to move as Christians in our lives. Like, God definitely gives us personal responsibility to get your act together and to plan things out, but ultimately understanding that we're going to hold God's hand and we're going to go wherever he leads us,
Yeah. Hey, I actually like this right here. So, the Xbox gamer brings up Rurouni Kenshin, another one of my favorite 90s animes. That is some top tier stuff right there. Talking about Kenshin and how he changed and became peaceful for the better. And even Adonis kind of goes with it, right? Like, it's true. It does show that regardless of where you are, you can change your life for the better. Yeah. And we can do that up to a certain point, right? Now, this is what I'm saying by this is like without God. We can improve our life up to a certain point without God. But it's that true internal change is really what we want to get to the crux of it all, right?
I think I would phrase it as you can change and improve things for the better in this life, in this realm, sure, but ultimately 100%. Without God, you're not gonna, change your eternal status, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, I mean, like, as funny as it sounds, like, I think about, like, you remember, like, for the classic anime heads here, remember in Dragon Ball Z when Goku dies and he meets King Yama in Snake Way? That's how I depict, like, when we die and we go to God. Like, God's on the throne, might not have a desk, and might not be Snake Way, but we're kind of just like in line getting ready to be processed, right? Like, remember that? The good souls would turn into like little clouds, and they would go on the plane and go to heaven and stuff. And
so you think when you go there, you're gonna be like a little black cloud floating around?
No, I mean, it depends, right? Yep. I mean, as long as I don't go to HFIL, I'll be good.
That was an American edit, right?
Yeah, that was an American edit because they didn't want to put hell. Because in the Jap stuff, they had hell.
That was funny. All right, well, before we close, I wanted to share this video. This may open up a can of worms, but
when don't we open up a can of worms?
I just saw this today, and let me fast forward this a little bit. Then isn't total probably just in.
What is up, Jonah?
Notion of what it means to say that again in English. Then isn't total depravity just an unclear and misleading notion of what it means towards man nature? All right, we're gonna need you to spell check your sentence there and put it up again. So are you saying that the concept of total depravity is just misleading overall? I think that if that's what you're saying, I think that a lot of people don't understand what it means when most Christians are saying total depravity. And some people don't really do their due diligence in understanding what total depravity means. They just look at the word evil. And again, I'll go back to this image. They think of, no man is good, not even one. And, man is completely evil. And they think of this, right? And that's not what the Bible is referring to. Like there is a clear in Romans, which is one of the ones that most people go to. There is a clear comparison between perfection, holiness, and then humankind. And in that comparison, there's no way that you measure up as a human at all, right?
And I think it's important to also make the distinction that even though we are talking about salvation, first and foremost, if you don't know Jesus Christ, if he's not your Lord and your Savior, you're not saved. We want to make that clear.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is not necessarily the process that we do, like whether if God chooses us or if we choose to be saved. That's not what we're talking about. What we're just specifically talking about in this instance is the idea that because of our sin nature, because of what Adam and Eve did, the original sin that then is passed down to everybody else, because then we're born into life with a sinful nature, we are unable to, without God revealing himself to us, come to Christ. Now, when God reveals himself, and we see
in the form of people, preachings, you reading the word yourself, correct, God convicting you in some way, right?
Once God reveals himself to us, then at that point, there is now a distinction that we have, whether we choose God or we don't. But the truth has been presented, and we have it in front of us.
And John, I know you joined a little late, but go back and watch the beginning of the stream, because we talked about the Bible teaching that the Word of God is written in our hearts, and we talked about what that means. If the Word of God is written in our hearts, and in order for God to be able to judge us, then clearly we have to be able to have some type of conscience of what good and evil is, in order for Him to be just and actually be able to judge us, judge our actions.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me share this video here, and I want to hear your thoughts.
So Ruslan Katie just uploaded a video talking about him not being able to hear from a fat pastor. Just listen to his words.
I was joking with Pastor Jeff earlier, and I've said this.
Oh, let me mute.
On the channel before, so it comes as no shocker. But I said one of my biggest stumbling blocks that really makes it difficult for me to receive, especially preaching, is the fact the pastor's fat.
I feel you.
I can't.
But
I can't.
Tell me why.
I just feel
like what is it triggering you?
It makes me go, if you can't figure this aspect of your life out, and you can't have the discipline to just not become obnoxiously fat, where you're
like you look like a hot air balloon's about to pop right now,
and then it just goes. I just go.
Dude, man, your blood pressure is like 200 over 200. What's going on?
It's. I just can't. I really can't. And it's really it's really like a stumbling block. Like I really I can't receive from folks like that.
So I want you to go after this video and watch the rest of his video, because it's really good. And there was actually a lot of really good things to say in there. One of the things he goes on to say is that, man, it's incredibly important to be a good steward of your body. And I agree with that. I really, really do. But here is my problem with a lot of things, is that oftentimes, especially with weight, it is weaponized against people to hurt them or hinder them in their story. And it makes, there's this narrative that God can't use you because you're fat. And I know it's a true narrative because I've experienced it. You see, early in my ministry career, weight was weaponized against me. I had just come out of a season of depression in Bible college, was starting my first pastoral job, my first big boy job, and was really excited. And on day one, my weight is weaponized against me, and it hurt. This is coming from a leader who was above me, who didn't handle it in a way of love and grace and truth, but actually really hurt me and really did it antagonistically. And I remember dealing with and feeling all of those feelings of frustration and how it set me back quite a few years. And so now here I am years later, right? I'm having this really public sanctification workout where I'm hitting the gym multiple times a week. I have an accountability partner who's working with me on stuff, who's talking to me about not only health goals, but spiritual goals and family goals and all that kind of stuff. A really good friend who's partnering alongside with me in that stuff. But the thing that cracks me up so much is that we can look at people who are fat, right? And we have, I think, honestly, one of two options in how we deal with them. Can we believe that God can use the fat person to preach the good news, like He can use a repentant alcoholic? Because the alcoholic is always going to be an alcoholic, right? That's what they say in the 12-step program. They're always going to have that struggle and that issue with them, but they're repentant of it. They've gone through with it, and now they are helping other people get out of that bondage and darkness. Can we believe the same thing for fat people, right? That fat people can have this public sanctification where the Holy Spirit is doing a work in them, where they're pursuing health and they're pursuing getting better, right? But in the midst of that, gotta.
I wanted to share this with you because I was just like, number one, it's your boy, Ruslan.
Number two, we're laughing at the Blue Bomber over here on the comments. His comment was hilarious.
This radio room. Like, wait, let me see. Jeez, you're really saying fat preachers. Dude, I didn't even, like, I don't know, like, just, what are your thoughts? What are your initial thoughts on this? Like,
God.
like, what do you, like?
So, I think, first of all, what Rusas was saying, he definitely just kind of came out of pocket. I understand what he means. I get the idea.
What does he mean?
He's just saying that when we are overweight, right, we're showing a lack of discipline and a lack of self-control.
And also, gluttony is a sin. Like,
Gluttony is a sin, yeah. So, I definitely understand that. But I think we do also need to have a space and also realize that some people might have, like, for example, like if you have a thyroid issue, that makes it very difficult to put down weight and very easy to gain weight. But in vice versa too, it also makes you like almost impossible to gain weight, right? Like I look at myself. So 2 months ago, I started a health kick, starting to go to the gym with a trainer, all the whole thing. I'm down like 18 pounds, I think.
Yeah.
So that's my thing right now, and now I'm like getting stuck in that threshold.
So you realized that you were being gluttonous. It got convicted.
I was 100% being gluttonous. I was 100% that. Some people you need to speak to like that and tell them that, like, hey, this is a problem and you don't see the issue with it and you're showing that there's no controlling yourself. And then some other people might just have like a legitimate issue that we just don't know what's going on. I mean,
yeah, I think
it can go a lot of different ways.
For me, I thought it was like such a weird like video to come across and like as a discussion,
Well, that guy is like I saw this stream a while ago. It's like he's like a trainer.
Yeah.
So so that's the thing. Like, it's not like they just come up out the cut like that.
But I will say, like, some of the things that I'm thinking about is like, he is right to the point of, look, gluttony is a sin. Like
100%.
there are people that glorify food to an extent to a detriment of their own body.
Dude, my wife told me that I was fat.
Yeah.
And that like I wasn't healthy.
Yeah, but like
I'll be the first to say it.
Right, but what I'm saying is like that can almost become an actual idol to you, and then and it just got me thinking of like there are some sins that we're really hard on, and then other sins that we completely overlook and don't even think of them as being a problem. I mean, I don't think I would go as far as to say, yo, if I see like a fat preacher, like I'm not gonna be able to listen to them.
And
you know
I think
what I'm saying?
that's the difficult part.
Like that's great. That's like, but at the same time, if you have somebody that's really like out of shape, like you gotta wonder a little bit, like, do they, have like their stuff together? Like, what's going on? Like, that would cause me to think that it's not like it would be like an immediate, like that's the first thing that I'm gonna go to when I'm listening to a sermon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't think that an expectation is for you to be like a gym buff, as a pastor.
Yeah, no.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't
like,
make me a Dave Goggins.
Yeah, like, there's so many, preachers that I respect that are not like freaking, like these muscle dudes. Like,
but it is fair to bring up the point of like Vodi Bakum. That dude was huge. And then he even, brought this up a while back where he's like, yeah, like I was in the wrong and I needed to lose the weight and show self-control. And like, that's really what it comes down to.
Do you think you got to get to that extreme of where do you think that the extreme that Ruslan is in is something that, because he almost seemed proud of it, like, yo, like when I see somebody that's
Ruslan was fat too though.
Right, but do you think because it almost seemed like he was proud of the fact that, like, bro, like when I see a fat preacher, like I can't, like my spirit just can't receive. Like, do you think like that's a healthy mindset for a Christian to have? Like, if that were me, if like naturally like that's where I was, I would be praying to God, bro. Like it's like for me when I'm very critical. Like, I love to study the Bible, I love theology, and there was a point where I became so haughty about my knowledge that I wouldn't really listen to preachers. I would just be, what's the word I'm looking for? Judging every single thing and how they structured their sermons and things that they were doing. So for me, I had to like humble myself and go to God and be like, bro, like I've gotten to a point where it's not just like me looking to know God. Now I'm like trying to bring people down in my head because I don't think they're at my level, and I wasn't allowing myself to receive, because like that, like what this guy's saying, like God can use anybody.
So real
to
quick,
bring
let's take a look at some of these comments, man, because people are going ham. And then Jetty actually brought up a really good point.
You're like, because you're like reading the thing, and I'm trying to talk, and I'm like, wait a minute, like I'm trying to remember what I'm saying.
That's what I'm trying to do it for you, man.
All right. So let's see.
So
let's go back up from like, let me see if I can bring up the comments on the chat so people can kind of like
take a look,
see where we're at. Let me these are the comments from here. All right. So from where do you want to start?
Oh my Lord. So first of all, there's still plenty of room at the foot of the cross for fatties. That's hilarious. All come to the cross, my friend. I agree with that. My wife points out about the issues about fat preachers being a stumbling block. That's a weird one for me. I don't know, man. Like I struggle with that. I mean, like definitely, we know of people. I am a part of that because I am still technically obese. I'm depending what day you ask me on the scale, I'm 212. Some days I'm 216. I'm 5'6", man. I'm up there still. Like I'm still pre-diabetic and all that fun stuff. So is that really a stumbling block for somebody, or is it more of like having that additional data, telling the person that I used to not have enough self-control? Like these are the things that we really got to start taking a look at. This is where one of those super cliche where you have to, don't judge the book by just its cover, right?
Yeah, but friendly chemist is just like gluttony's a sin.
but it is. I think friendly chemist is absolutely right.
They both have a point, says Box Gamer.
Yeah, and saying that Ruslan wasn't being mean-spirited. Friendly Chemist is responding to me saying that, I gained 48 pounds and started working out to lose it all. Unfortunately, telling them that they truly suck, but it'll wake them up. Yeah, so some people, you're right, Friendly Chemist. Some people do need to hear that as to like, hey, you're big, you need to figure it out, and like, let's get going. I agree with you with that.
The term stumbling block, though, like, you can express concern towards the preacher, but say stumbling block. I need to know what he meant by that.
Yeah,
David
Goggins. I don't know about that because like this guy like makes people throw up on the regular during his workouts. I'm all set with that. I've been watching some of his stuff.
Aren't you committed, bro?
Dude, I am very committed, but Sunday's my cheat day.
Teddy, I know skinny preachers with more serious health problems than some fat preachers. Let's ask preachers to show their health stats.
Yeah, let's just do it straight Final Fantasy style, right? Have all your stats out there.
By the way, we didn't watch the full video, but that's something that, this guy gets into. He says that, they are people that are, let's say fit and they struggle with a lot more sins and they have a lot more struggles than somebody that may be overweight.
Your wife brought up a good question. So if you are overweight, are you in sin?
I think if you're not healthy, then yeah. You know what I mean? And I don't want to say, you got to define it for yourself, but you got to find a good portion where like you've had your checkup. If your doctor's saying, hey man, like you're kind of you're overweight, you need to work on this. Like that's an unhealthy. Like if you're supposed to be keeping your temple. And your temple is supposed to be serving God, and if you're not able to do that because of your health or the way that you're leading your life today, like that's a sin.
Yeah,
in my opinion. Yeah. Now, outside of that, like think about it. There's people that they don't. Everything all their charts may be fine, but they want to lose weight because they want to be able to play more with their kids. What I'm saying?
One of my biggest motivators.
Like. Us leading a life that is an example for our kids, like that's biblical. So if you're not able to do that, you're not modeling good behavior for your kids. Like then you got to ask yourself, like, am I really instructing my kids in the way that they should go?
Yeah. Let's see. So Box Gamer says, I am a cynic by nature, tending to break down people's sermons at an atomic level. You're talking to two very big cynics as well. But we're just trying to be nicer about it. Trying to be more Christ-like about it.
To be honest, man, like for me, like that got to be a struggle for a bit, and I really had to, and I'm not saying that you need to do this, but like for me, I really had to humble myself, go to God, and really like ask him for help. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, like this other guy was saying, like God can use anybody and the simplest of people to deliver an amazing word. And I think that God opened my eyes to seeing like the simplest of messages. I would see people like bawling and crying and the Holy Spirit touching them. And, that's humbling. Like it's not all about, there's people that can get up there and they'll say fancy words, and, they'll be their theology will be like at level 20. But then, people get out of that service and all they can say is, oh, yeah, that guy sounded really smart.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Like one of my favorite things that I've definitely learned from two I know, right? Two pastors very close to me is my pastor Javi and my pastor Chetty. Chetty's over here right now.
Yo, don't be calling people by name, bro.
Bro, no, it's all good. No, but like, these are men that have shown. And this is a really important thing, guys. Make sure you can surround yourself with people that live out the gospel, not just talk about it. But these are guys that have shown me, like, how to live the gospel. And if you were to see them, you wouldn't think that they'd be like the stereotypical pastor, right? There's no 3-piece suits unless it's like absolutely necessary. Like, yo, I'm gonna put it to you like this. I am a very big sneakerhead. I love sneakers, and
that's a sin.
And my pastor was cool with me going up with some khakis, a polo, and one of my favorite pair of Nike Dunks. There are some churches that if I was to go up to preach with some khakis and some Nike Dunks on, I would be kicked out. And that's sad, right? We're not going to jump into the whole criticizing the church, but that's a reality of thing. But this, from these two gentlemen, I've been able to learn that it's not about the outward appearance. It's about how you live through the life of Christ so that others can come to that.
And again, like, I just keep on going back to the video. Sorry, guys, because I actually watched the entire thing. But he talks about, like, look, it's a sin if it's an unrepentant sin, right? Meaning that they have not recognized that it is a problem with or they're denying that it's a problem. But you don't know, man. Like, you could see somebody that's up there that may be overweight, and they know that it's a problem, and they could be working towards it. Like this dude, he says, like, he started to go into the gym, like God convicted him. And like for you to go in, to a service and to hear a preaching, and the first thing you're saying is like, this guy's disqualified because he's fat. Like, that's a little messed up, because you also got to offer some grace and be like, man, like, it's, I mean, you can recognize, like, yeah, he's overweight, but at the same time, God could be working on them already, and they could be taking steps towards getting healthier. And you might have missed out on a message that God had for you to apply into your life, and you didn't listen to it because you were letting, just the outward appearance, guide your heart.
So let's wrap up with a couple more comments here. So Box Gamer, yes, if I can get to 180, I will be an absolute unit, and that would be very. That is the eventual goal. I would like to get to 180, 190. I don't know about 18% body fat, because I love cheesecake and I love anything with strawberries in it. So
I have been trying to get to 180 for like the past 5 years.
Dude. So, but that'd be dope if I can get down there. But there is a God. But no, I mean, like, I already feel significantly better just being down, the 18 pounds. Like, I keep up with my son.
Yeah, you've done a good job, man.
My sleep apnea isn't screwing me over, like, as much as it was before. Like, my job requires a lot of driving, and I would, like, almost fall asleep sometimes behind the wheel. Now I don't deal with that, just with, like, it's almost 20 pounds off. So that's a very big thing for me.
Yeah, and the thing that people don't realize, I used to be 240, by the way, guys, so I was, like, fat. Like, I was huge. For my height, I'm, like, 5'10", 5'11" on a good day. But there's a lot of things that your weight can affect that you don't necessarily realize, like your sleep, how much energy you have, knee problems. I mean, it's just a slew of things, like even like your stomach, how you process food, like eating all that crap. Like, a bunch of issues that you could be having that you're not even linking it to your weight. And if you focus a little bit more, not even like, you don't have to go to the gym, man, just like eating more vegetables and adding that into your diet, you know, being mindful of what you eat, like you're gonna see a big difference in your quality of life overall. And that's gonna translate into you, if you're a man, being there as a husband, as a father, you know, if you're involved in leadership in your church, being there, you know, being able to participate in whatever, you know, youth ministry or whatever you're doing. So overall, it's not about getting a six pack. It's just about living healthier and, you know, being around for the people that you love, you know?
Yep. So let's see. Pastor says here, as a preacher, part of what we need to keep in mind is appearance. Fortunately, people focus on appearances. If people focus on having a suit jacket on from the pulpit, they will always focus on weight. It's funny that you guys say that. Manny actually preached a sermon 2 Sundays ago, and this guy went up with like a jacket, slacks and everything, had a t-shirt underneath, and took off the jacket during the sermon. I was like, look at you, man, breaking cultural norms.
Oh, yeah,
that's
that
what
was,
I'm talking about.
Yep. Yeah, that was good. A fun.
That was good.
I actually talked to my wife even before, like the night before, like, hey, what do you think? Should that be an example? Should it not be? And I'm sure you guys are. Maybe we'll take a
clip of that.
No, well, it's in Spanish, so it may not translate, but.
Well, we can translate it over because we won't get copyright strikes against ourselves.
I'll sit here and talk about what I was saying.
Exactly.
No, but I mean, we can always go back and touch on these topics. I think that's always something that, because you always, you know, you want to move forward, you want to educate, but at the same time, you want to do it with love, and it's always like that balance that you try to achieve. And the more I mature and the more that I grow, the more that I try to be as empathetic as Jesus was, and really learn with the way that he corrected people. And I tend to be like very straightforward, and he always seemed to find the right story to illustrate the point and to bring people to, you know, to realize for themselves and ask themselves the proper questions to be able to, you know, come to the right conclusion. Anyways, guys, it is getting late. I gotta wake up early tomorrow. I'm sure.
Me too.
Andy Song has to get home.
I gotta get home. My little guy busted his lip. Yes, I gotta drive into Boston tomorrow, so that's gonna be fun as well.
Ooh, lovely.
Guys, this is Thanksgiving week. I hope you guys enjoy your time with your family. If you cannot be with your family,
be thankful. Don't be ungrateful.
If you can't be with your family, find a community that can be with you guys. At the end of the day, we're thankful for all of you guys that take time to just watch with us, spend a little bit of time with us on a Monday. We hope that we help you guys just cool off and just chill off from the start of what can be a stressful week.
And we appreciate your graces, because this live almost didn't happen. And
it almost didn't happen.
We were able to come out by the grace of God. So, all right, guys. Well, this was the live. As always, I just wanted to remind you that we must persevere. Peace.